Hey y'all, this is Joe out here at the cabin, St. Bernard Acres. Gonna do a porch chat with you. And I got notes. I had to take notes, jot down some ideas for this one. I want to talk to you about retiring. I'm looking at trying to retire next year at 62, take my early retirement and move out here. Well, not move out here. We'll have to still live in Wheeling for a while. But try to take my retirement at 62 and enjoy life. My friend Gary that helped me with this, and it's going to continue helping me, he's back. He had to go to California for a while, and he's back. We had breakfast this morning. So it was good to see him again. And one of my subscribers had left a comment. She had 8 chickens that she needed to rehome. It was too much for her. And when Gary left for California, he had to give up his flock. And it's like, well, Gary's back. He needed to restock his chicken coop. So they hooked up, and it worked out great for everybody. So, and I wasn't allowed to take them because we're only allowed a certain number in the city of Wheeling. But that worked out really well. But to get back to what I wanted to talk about, what made me think about it was 2 things. You see all these commercials on television, any news stations you watch, any financial stations, just about anywhere you have TV on, are the commercials. How much money do you need to retire on? And $1 million. Well, that will only last you 8 years. Blah 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 blah. Basically, they want you to pay somebody to try to help you save for retirement, and I think it's all bullcrap. I know that there are people that have 401ks. There are people that have their savings that they can retire on. And that's great, but there's also a lot of people that don't have the 401ks or the savings. I said before that St. Bernard Acres, and this out here is my 401k. This is my retirement plan. It always has been since the day we bought it. So I'm looking at collecting my Social Security at 62. I know I can wait till I'm 66 and get more money, but I think about the fact that since I was 15 years old in 1972, I've had reportable income since 1972. So when I hit 62, that will be 47 years that I've been working. And unfortunately and sadly, I see a lot of people, friends included, that they hit their mid-60s and die, I don't want to do that. I want to come out here and live and enjoy life, not work for life anymore. And I think you can do it. You don't have to have $1 million. You don't have to have, an overly funded 401k and all this crap. What you have to do is adjust your lifestyle. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's not doing without. You got to figure out what you can do without. I think the problem, there's every day 8 to 10,000 people turn 65. We are the baby boomers that are retiring now. 8 to 10,000 people a day turn 65. And that is amazing when you think about it. Now, we have all paid into Social Security forever. I was born in 1957, so I can take my early retirement at 62 without any problem. If I wait till I'm 66, it adds $300 or $400 a month to it, but I'm not. I think my time and my enjoying life is more important to me than the other $400 a month. If I run that short of money, I can work a little part-time job if I need to. Or I can become like some of these fake YouTube homestead things, and just crank out video after video after video of nothing, and try to make money that way. I'm not interested in that either. I just enjoy making these. But some of the things that come to mind when you're trying to live on Social Security or, supplemental security income, you see these people that are in their 70s and 80s still having to work. And I think a big part of that is their expenses still. They're paying rent. A lot of the big thing, the average cost around the country, the average rent is $1,200 a month. Now obviously there's cheaper and there's more expensive, but I think it averages to around $1,200 a month. You can't pay those kind of rent prices on Social Security and live, and pay your Medicaid. The reason why I think we're not going to have a problem out here is we won't be paying rent, and that's probably half of everybody's Social Security that can't make it, is because probably half of their Social Security goes to pay for rent. We know people that are in that situation. Again, a reason for buying this and getting set up out here. We won't have a rent payment. We'll be able to garden, and can food and grow a lot of our own food. We'll have our chickens. We'll have cows available to us, even if we don't have a couple of cows. We'll still be going to the grocery store. We'll be buying, it's not like we're going to, live off the land. That's never going to happen with us. But you want a more self-reliant lifestyle. Not only by growing all of our own food and our, taking care of our own chickens and everything. It's going to be a lot healthier for us at our age, versus all of the chemicals that we're buying every day at the stores to eat. So there's a side benefit to that. Another thing to think about, people not saving up for retirement, and these us not having retirement plans. Around the 1970s, early 70s, is when a lot of companies quit doing pensions. It used to be a company provided a pension for its employees. That was, back when you heard about people who worked 40 years at one company, 30 years at one company. And their dad worked there, and their son was working there, because there was loyalty from the company to the customer, to the employee. The employers were loyal to the employees, and vice versa. That was a big benefit. You had your pension; it was funded by your company, and we are the first generation of retirees who are experiencing not having company-sponsored pensions, if you will. We're non-governmental workers. I think I need to clarify that too. And I know I don't need people commenting and say, well, I have this and I have that. Well, I know it runs the gamut of people and situations. I'm talking about my particular situation and people that I know. But we don't have companies anymore providing pensions as a benefit to their employees. And you have them offering 401k plans that they'll contribute to with you. So you do have that, but we're in the economic environment of the last 30 years basically that has been, in my opinion, has been going downhill. It's harder and harder to save that kind of money. you look at today's people. How can they contribute? They've got student loans they got to pay. They got rent they have to pay. Insurance that is ridiculous. You know, all and trying to raise a kid. Where's money for your 401k for your retirement, and where's the money to save to buy a home? You know, it's a whole different thing we're facing, and we're running into that. My generation is running into that now. How are we going to do this with our Social Security only? My demographic, Americans 65 and older, I'm almost there, I'm 62, but that demographic is the only demographic in the last 20 years that the poverty level has risen. Everybody else, the poverty level has dropped. Senior citizens, the poverty level has gone up. And a lot of that is due to the fact that Social Security has not kept up with the cost of living increases. And I understand that. I'm going to become more self-reliant and rely more on myself than on the government, you know. So that's going to help, you know, overcome some of that. We're also looking at these people, for the first time in their lives, they're poor. You know, they've worked all their lives, and I don't have a pension. I don't have a fully funded 401k or savings account or whatever. So I'm basically going to be poor for the first time in my life. You know, generally speaking, I've been poor. I grew up poor. I know what poor is. So I know what's coming. I'm trying to get prepared for it all out here. Vast majority of Americans don't know what poor is. They haven't experienced that, and they're about to experience that for the first time in their lives. We could do a lot more with Social Security if, number one, we quit giving it to everybody and people that haven't earned it, and the government would start paying back some of the $4 trillion they owe to the system that the government's borrowed. So, you know, you have to think about that and get prepared for that. How am I going, you know, my Social Security is going to cut my income more than in half. You know, you suddenly are making half of what you're used to making. So you have to, all of your bills and your expenses have to be cut in half in order to maintain the same lifestyle. You know, I want a different lifestyle because I don't want to work for fun. I want to have fun for fun. So I'm not going to have all the expenses that I have now. That's the idea behind this. That's where my retirement savings is, and my extra retirement income is coming from. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about? What we're experiencing now with, you know, the senior citizens and people trying to adjust and not being able to adjust, this is a preview of what's to come over the next few decades. It's going to get worse and worse and worse as people are not prepared for it or don't know how to handle it. So, you know, if you don't have all that money in savings, you need to realize you can't have the bills that you have when you retire. You know, you don't need them, in my opinion. I don't need a new car every 2 or 3 years. I make less money now than I did 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but I have more money in my pocket because we don't have a big house payment. We don't have 2 new car payments. We don't, you know, all this stuff's been cut back. We don't have kids. Well, we're almost done with kids. So, you know, those are adjustments that you can make. You need to make some more. And if you think about that, the effect that that's going to have on the economy overall, now you have 8,000 to 10,000 people a day who are turning 65 and drawing Social Security and having to cut back on everything. Well, guess what? That's 8 to 10,000 people a day that's not going to be spending money on everything that they spend money on today, because it's all going to be being cut back. So that's going to have a resounding effect on our overall economy. And I don't hear people talking about that. I don't hear that being mentioned. You know, Social Security replaces about 40% of your current income. The experts, if you want to pay them the money that you see on TV, tell you need at least 80% of your current income for retirement purposes, because you're going to live to be 100, so you have to have a couple $1,000,000 set aside. If you pay me the money, I'll show you how to do that. You know, you'll be dead long before then, but, you know, pay me the money, I'll show you how to do it. So these are just some thoughts that you need to think about as you get older, as you get like me and Gail, as we start approaching that, what you're going to be able to cut back, what you're going to be able to save on, and how you want to spend. You don't have to. I'm in good health. I do not have to retire at 62. I can work till I'm 66 without a problem, get my full retirement, and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to. We have a guy at work that's 72 years old, works every day. He doesn't need to, he wants to. He enjoys working. I don't. I've worked long enough. I want to work out here. I want to work for me. I don't want to work for a company. So I'm just trying to get a conversation going here and alert you guys to what I'm facing as this is coming up on me. I'm going to do fine. Gail's going to do fine. Gail's going to retire. She's worked all of her life. So we've paid into it. We're going to get our share out of it by retiring at 62. We'll get ours, you know. And because we're doing all of this work to get set up for it, we'll be prepared. We won't miss a beat, you know. Most of you guys aren't set up to do it. You need to start thinking about that kind of stuff. You know, you got all these people talk about being preppers and being prepared for when the SHTF happens and all that. Well, this is something that is going to happen. There are no what-if scenarios on this. You are going to turn 62. You're going to turn 65. You're not going to be able to work the way you used to. So start getting prepared for that. I'm starting late in life, but I think we're going to do okay. You know, as long as there's no catastrophic medical expenses or something, we should be able to do okay. And the last thing I want to talk about, I don't need my notes for this because this is kind of scary. Everything you hear politicians saying now, we senior citizens are living off the system. You know, we're living off of these entitlements that all these people are getting. Well, number one, they're not getting entitlements, they're getting welfare. You are not entitled to welfare. You're not entitled to food stamps. You're not entitled to medical cards. Those we give you to help you out. I am entitled to Social Security because I paid into it for 47 years. So I'm entitled to it. But you guys have turned entitlement into a bad word, and you've lumped us in with all of the people who don't work, who live off the food stamps and the welfare and the medical cards and the HUD. You know, they haven't paid into the system. So ask yourself, why are they doing that? Why is this happening? You know? I'll tell you why it's happening. This is part of, and you guys will call me crazy. Some of you will call me crazy. I know Gail will, because I, think about stuff like this. But it's like, over the next few decades, it's going to be such a burden on everything as we all continue to retire. All of the younger generations, they go from job to job. There is no loyalty anymore to anything. They're not going to have anything, right? So let's start brainwashing them now. Let's start convincing them that these senior citizens are nothing but a drain on the economy. They contribute nothing. They are a drain. They're costing our government billions of dollars a year. Forget about the fact we paid billions and billions of dollars a year into it. Now suddenly, we're costing them. We're costing them nothing. You know, we're getting back what we paid in. If they had invested it like they tell us to invest, we'd have a lot more coming back. You know? So, my fear is, at what point does it become so ingrained in Americans that the elderly are an unnecessary draw on the system? And because they contribute nothing, they can't keep, taking things. So what are they going to do with us? Mark my words, those days are coming. It may not be in my time, but this is how our government works. And for fear of my video being demonetized and me becoming a bad person on YouTube, what we're seeing now after what happened most recently is, with all these young kids now wanting to stop what happened, their plan over the last 30 years is starting to come to what they wanted. We have developed a generation of kids who are going to be voting soon, mind you, that want to do away with the Second Amendment, that think we don't need it. So let's eliminate it. And that was the plan 30 years ago. Let's start working on them now, and eventually we're going to get them to where they want to give up their rights because they think it's their idea. You know? It's happening. We have people now who think we don't need those Bill of Rights. We don't need our rights. You know? So let's get rid of it. That way we can eliminate all these tragic things that happen. That's the way they think. Much like, and I joke about it, when I worked in Cincinnati, I would come up with an idea that I needed to buy a piece of equipment, or we needed to try something a different way. No, we can't do that. Can't afford that piece of equipment. We don't want to do it that way. We do it this way. Well, you tell them that, and then you wait. In a few weeks, the boss is like, hey, I got an idea. I want to get this piece of equipment, or I want to try this process. Guess what? It's their idea. They do it. Everybody's happy. I have no ego to bruise. If I can get what I want that way, that's the way I'll do it. And it's working the same way with the government. You know? They're conditioning us. You know? And it's for 30 years they've been conditioning us. Why do you think over half the population gets some kind of government assistance? You don't bite the hand that feeds you. They're paying your way in life. You are not going to fight them. You are not going to argue with anything they have, because they know everything. They're the ones taking care of you. They know everything. So you don't question them. As long as you get your check every month, that's all you want. You know? That's where we're headed. That's what you guys who are younger than me are going to have to start dealing with and start getting prepared for and start thinking about. How are you going to combat this? Because in 10 years, all those youngsters that are out there boycotting everybody and, protesting and, stop this, stop that, they're going to be voting. And that right that you think you have is going to be gone, because there's not enough of us around willing to fight against it. There needs to be more. People need to be more active. How we do that, I don't know. Who we turn to lead us, I don't know. But y'all need to start doing something. I'm out of it, pretty much. I'm getting my retirement. I'm going to hang out here on my hill, But just some things to think about, I hope some of what I said makes sense, makes you think. Give me some feedback on this. Let me know what you think. What you think we can do. What do you think we can do with our senior citizens? You know, I did a video. I want to grow a big garden in the back behind the barn. What am I going to do with the food that I grow? I have no idea. But there's plenty of senior care centers and assisted care centers and VA homes and stuff. I can give it to them. You know, I'm not going to eat it all. I just want to grow it and see if I can. Maybe once we move out here permanently, we can grow it and set up a fruit stand or something, vegetable stand. Make some extra money that way. But, you know, you got to start thinking about what you're going to do because it comes up quick on you. Mine's coming up next year. I'll be done. So, that's all I had to say on that. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you think. This is Joe out here at the cabin at St. Bernard Acres. That is all.